Hey, everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver, and I'm here with my sister, co host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, this is our Wednesday live stream case
hmm
updates show, and per normal, there are an armload.
Yeah, there really are. And I don't know. Some of it's good and interesting, and some of it's just kind of funny in
Mm-hmm.
a what the fuck kind of way. Funny,
Yeah,
you know?
there's definitely some of that, yes.
Mhm.
But before we do that, how's it going?
Very good. Very good.
What you
I've
been
just
doing all?
been working on podcasts. So I produce other people's podcasts as well as doing this podcast.
Yeah,
And so working on podcast stuff pretty much all day. The tech side of life.
yeah. I hear that. Well,
Mm.
good. I had like a armload of errands to do,
Mhm.
and that's just mundane stuff, you know?
Mhm.
But we had to go to Walmart. Boo.
Yeah.
Had to, I sold some dishes that I had to deliver to somebody. I had to go to the post office, just all kinds of stuff. I mean, you'll be glad to know I finally did mail my taxes. That's
Oh, well
correct. My taxes.
well, for
Yep.
God's sake. I'm glad you won't be going to prison this year. Um, we don't know about next year because she does it the same way every time.
I, I have vowed to turn over a new leaf. And this year, I am going to file my taxes in February. So there's
See, there
nothing
you
to
go.
worry about.
I mean,
And
I'm
this,
known to submit them the night before they're due, like on the 14th of April,
mhm.
but
But not
I
wait
don't
till the
mail them
end of
on the
November?
30th of November.
I know, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. Well, and here's what's really stupid. I thought we were gonna owe quite a bit, and it turned out we're actually getting a small refund, so I'm just an idiot. Yeah,
So you've been avoiding for no reason at all.
entirely. Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, but I'm looking at it now, like, for our health insurance, I have to have my, taxes done, and also for, to file for financial aid for my kids for next year, I have to have my taxes done. Like,
Yeah,
holy
this
shit! What are you
definitely
doing?
has some major consequences if you don't get it done.
Yeah. Use TurboTax, Fairy Magic says. I use Tax Act, but yeah,
Mm,
same, you know, basically the
yeah.
same thing. Yeah. Now, my kids were getting decent sized refunds, and so I filed theirs in like February.
You filed your kids' taxes and you didn't file your own.
Oh, mine are so much more detailed. 4 businesses.
I know, but
So much more to do. I know,
that's
it's
funny.
dumb. But I've also pigeonholed myself because I'm the only one that knows how to do them. So
Mm, mhm.
Scott doesn't, I can't just be like, you know what? I've done them for the last 25 years. It's your turn. Because he doesn't know how. He actually said the other night to my sisters, "Kate she's really good at it." And I was like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not. We're probably going to prison. I don't know."
Right.
Right, Janet, can't they just send us a bill? Oh, she's a tax procrastinator as well. That's okay.
Janet, when I first read that for a second, I thought it said prosecutor, and I was like,
Oh,
"You
you're
should
dead.
probably
You're
shut up
dead
now."
meat.
And then I was like, "Oh, procrastinator. Oh, good. Okay. Okay."
Honestly,
No,
I suspect that we don't take nearly the, deductions we should. I think I'm an idiot, but, it's fine. It's whatever.
I don't
It's
know.
just taxes.
Being self-employed is
Cranky said, "I'm so
yikes.
paranoid we do it right away." Well, see,
Uh,
I should be. I need
mhm.
to do that. Yeah.
But see, Janet, I agree. Why don't they just? It's such a game. We're just set up from the beginning
Mhm.
because,
Janet
you
and I are
know,
going to prison
they
together.
know they know if we owe or not, but they make us report. Why? They know.
Right.
They have all our shit, you know?
Mhm.
Mm.
Mhm.
Oh, that's so funny, Janet. I may also go to prison for accidental tax fraud. Oh, me
Mhm.
too. I do ours. Totally same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Sherry's in accounting and she goes to someone. See, Sherry, I should. I would make an accountant cry. Yeah. I
Mm.
know. They would be like, "How in the." Yeah. but 4 home-based businesses. 4.
Right?
It's ridiculous. Actually, we cut
Mhm.
it down this year to 3.
Mm. Well,
So look
nice.
at us. It's crazy. It's
Mhm.
insane. Anyway, so that's all. That's what I'm doing. Just, finally getting my shit together. But now I need to file financial aid and I need to give our updated tax stuff over to the health insurance people to make sure that that's all correct. And do you think I've done that? No, I have not. But I'm doing it tomorrow. Yeah, I am.
Well,
Tomorrow.
those of you that come to the psychic hour, why don't you ask her if she did it tomorrow? Maybe
Hmm.
it'll help.
Maybe. Oklahoma. Oh, Amy said Oklahoma state taxes are so ridiculous. I always know I'm going to have to pay them half of my federal refund. So I
Oh,
wait till the
wow.
last minute. Yeah. Lots of good write offs, Sherry. Yeah, tons. But yeah, anyway, we're idiots. That's the answer. Oh,
Definitely
Paula
not built
said,
for that.
even with all of her medical expenses, we're always just under the limit to be able to deduct them. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
mine too.
Me too.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Boo. Anyway, yeah. So there it is. There's all of that nonsense. Now you know I'm ridiculous. You probably already knew. But we had the coolest news, the coolest stats today from Spotify.
Right?
So our podcast, as you know, is here on YouTube, but it also is on Spotify.
Mhm.
And Spotify sends you these really great updates at the end of the year. YouTube does too, but I don't think we've seen them yet.
Not yet.
But Spotify, man, they rocked our world.
They did.
Our podcast has been seen this year in 45, or listened to, or seen, because there actually is video over there too,
Right.
uh, in 45 different countries.
Yeah. Hello out there, whatever of the 45 countries you're in. Welcome. We're
Yeah,
glad you're here. I mean, we know
thank
we're
you.
international, but wow, that was bigger than I expected.
Yeah. Well, and also, the US was our biggest listener, but Australia was our second biggest. And that
Mhm.
didn't surprise me too much because I know we have a lot of Aussies around here.
Oh, yeah.
But still, like, damn. We have also produced almost 9,000 minutes of content this year.
I'm not
9,000
surprised.
minutes.
I mean, we'll be at 600 or maybe a little more episodes by the end of the year,
Mhm.
just
Well,
in this year.
I
Well,
pulled up
not
a
just in
few
this year,
stats.
total, I mean.
Our podcast was in the top 10% of most shared globally, which I
And
thought
that's in
was
the true crime category.
mhm,
So, yeah, which I think is pretty amazing.
right? I was really happy to hear that.
Yeah,
Yep, we created 8,859 minutes of new content. That's 99% more than other creators in true crime.
yeah. Well, that's yeah, yeah. We are one of the most prolific true crime podcasts
Well, now
out
I
there.
want to know who the top one is so we can beat them. No.
Right? Yeah, who creates more content than we do? I don't know because I know we create a lot.
Uh-huh. Let's see. Oh, we released 92 video episodes this year, and they were in the top 5% most viewed.
We'll
We'll
take
take
that.
it. Yes. 207 episodes, again, 88.8K minutes, 45 countries. We increased by 41% of followers.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
fantastic.
And here's our top 5 countries: US, Australia, Canada, UK, and Ireland.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Welcome, all of you, wherever you are from. We love it that you're here, whether you're live or after the fact, or you started with our original Dial Off Pass episode and have been working your way up. We
Hmm.
are so happy you're all here.
I love it. Love it so much. Very cool. Yep. Oh, Fran said, remember mileage to your medical expenses. I didn't. God damn it. Oh, well.
That's funny.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, here we are. So, yeah, how cool is that? Pretty
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels pretty good to see those kinds of numbers because, we're just kind of grinding an episode at a time over here and
Yeah.
kind of forget like
To
how
see
many
it
people
all
are
add up
listening to
like
us
that.
and yeah, and all the work we've done. It's pretty great.
Hmm. We love
We
it.
must really love it, huh?
That's right. Yep. I love it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, There is so much. Where the hell do we start? Let's see. I'm going to look at our list.
Well, we do have good news
Mm.
in the Pike County massacre trial.
Yeah, go ahead and let's do that one.
So, after only what feels like 10 million years
Mm.
and 2.5 month long trial.
Seriously, the belligerentest of belligerent turd
Oh
circuses.
my God. George Wagner IV has finally been found guilty in the Pike County massacre. He's
After
guilty of
the most
22 counts.
horrific things talked about. This is the most screwed
Oh,
up family. If you didn't
it is.
already know that, just listening to some of the things that were talked about in this trial, who
It's
the hell are these people?
insane.
My
Insane.
God.
So he was found guilty on all 22 charges against him.
Yeah.
So 8 counts of aggravated murder, 4 counts of aggravated burglary, 3 counts of tampering with evidence, 1 count of conspiracy, 1 count of unlawful possession of dangerous ordnance, 1 count of forgery, 1 count of unauthorized use of computer or telecommunications, 1 count of interception of wire, oral, or electronic communications, 1 count
Mm-hmm.
of obstructing justice, and 1 count of engaging in a pattern of corrupt activity. Because I'll tell you what, these Wagners are nothing if not prolific. My God, could you have just committed one of every kind of crime you could even think of in this situation? I mean, the only thing I didn't see on there was shoplifting. So I think he pretty much hit everything.
Yeah. He's,
Yeah. All charges, Janet. Yep.
yep. I'm so glad. So
Yeah.
glad. But of course, that was only one leg, right? They still have more Wagners to,
Only one left. So
oh, thank God.
Jake and the mother took plea deals. They're in prison.
Yes.
George is now George the Fourth is convicted. So now
Hmm.
George's dad has still not been tried. However, and I wonder the same thing, Janet, if
Hmm.
dad will go ahead and take a plea,
Right.
because holy shit, they're supposed to have to do this again.
It'd be
And the victims'
insane to not take a
families,
plea, but they are insane.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
oh, Colleen
right.
said backwoods hillbilly crime syndicate. Yep.
Yep, that is exactly what the Wagners were.
Hmm.
Exactly. And
Yep.
it was entirely their intention. To hear them talk about it is
Yeah.
absolutely horrific.
Hmm.
But hey, he's finally convicted.
Yeah.
Come on, Dad, just take a freaking plea so that we don't have to put this community through another trial like that.
Right. Seriously.
I follow the docket on Twitter, and their podcast is Pretty Lies and Alibis. And I swear,
Hmm.
the person running their Twitter probably needs a vacation on an island somewhere for about 3 months after tweeting this trial.
Right. Well, they attended it nearly
Yeah,
full
and
time
live tweeted it.
and
And
live
they've
tweeted
been
it.
so committed, and I've been very
Hmm.
appreciative of it because that's how I've been following it.
Yeah.
But my God, that person needs a vacation.
And they said they were going to need some counseling.
They
I mean,
did.
seriously, it's been so horrific for the people that have had to listen to this. I feel
Yeah,
so sorry for the jury that have
yeah,
had to put up with this.
it's insane. Well, and just for the victims' families, and they would have to
Mhm.
walk out sometimes, and it was awful. And it was 2.5 months, you guys.
Mhm.
That is so brutal for
Mm.
everyone. I mean,
It
I don't
is, but
care about George the
particularly in this
Fourth, but
case. Yeah,
yeah,
because
yeah,
the details were just horrifying.
absolutely horrifying.
Yeah. So,
So
yay! Ding
yeah,
dong.
he's guilty. So we'll
Mhm.
see if Dad takes a plea. He would be an idiot not to at this point. Because it's
Uh,
just all the same evidence. This is a Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell situation. It's just the
mhm.
same evidence against him,
Yep.
and they have already proven that they don't have to, or that, they've already demonstrated that they didn't even have to prove that George pulled the trigger
Right.
for him to be guilty of all of
Mhm.
this. Because he is, because they conspired together to do this, because they are
Mhm.
horrendous people.
Yeah.
And, yeah, well, we
Yeah.
already know they're idiots. They are idiots, but you
That's
know
the
what?
thing. He's mean enough and stupid enough to
Yeah.
actually insist on his own jury trial.
Right? I mean, that is kind of part of this that is
Mhm.
really kind of horrifying, is just how brutal these people are.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
for sure.
I'm glad
Well,
at least
good.
for now it's done.
Yes, absolutely. Another little bit of good news out of Philadelphia. The
Yes.
Philadelphia police are saying that they have identified the boy in the box.
Yeah.
You guys remember this case? He's a 1957 murder victim. We've talked about it before.
We have.
They are going to provide an update next week, so they're not telling us quite yet, but they are saying that they use DNA and reverse genealogy to find this child's family and identify him. So
It's
we'll know
amazing.
probably next week who he actually was. It is
Yeah.
amazing.
It's crazy when these cases like the Lady of the Dunes, like that
Hmm.
have these names that we all know
Yeah.
because they've been around for so long are finally getting at
Hmm.
least an identity, if not a resolution, at least an identity of who that person was. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, and in more DNA for the win. Earlier this week, we talked about Melissa Highsmith,
Yes. Oh my
who,
gosh.
of course, was kidnapped from her parents' home by a babysitter and
Yeah.
has been missing now for about 50 years. And her family finally found her
Yeah.
with the help of doing their DNA,
Yeah.
doing 23andMe kits, and so had she, well, actually, so had some of her daughters. That's what we know now. So when we first reported on this case, we didn't know everything. We knew that the Highsmiths had found their daughter and they'd
Mhm.
been reunited, but we did not know what, what exactly led them there. But I'm going to show you one more time the pictures of them. So this is the Highsmiths
Mhm.
when Melissa was a baby, and then this is them now after being reunited.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. So now we know that Melissa's daughters, she has 3 daughters, and one of them did a DNA, did 23andMe.
Wow. We
And
knew
that's
no
how
clue that her mother had been kidnapped.
they got connected. Um, Also, it sounds like she was raised by the kidnapper. That was a question. Was she
Yeah.
sold? Like, how did this happen? It sounds like she was raised by the kidnapper. She had 2 older brothers. She says that she had a very sad and challenging upbringing. She and her mother did not get along, and she actually ran away from home and left home at 15.
Wow. It's
So the
like
only
it's hard
question
to
I've been
know.
unable to answer is this person still alive? The article did
Right.
not say. I don't know if we know that. And maybe these are things that aren't really being discussed yet because are
Mhm.
there going to be charges? Is it too late? Like, what's going to
Right.
happen?
Yeah.
But at least they're reunited now. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's yet another DNA for the win.
It is just amazing.
It
The
really
fact that
is.
she's still alive 50 years
Yeah.
later is unreal.
And has been in their same broader community all this time.
It's just horrifying. Isn't it terrifying to think that that could happen?
She said that when she was little, she wasn't allowed to go outside and play.
Yeah, bet.
That her mother, in her words, sheltered her heavily. She wasn't allowed to have friends. She wasn't allowed to go anywhere. She was totally under wraps. And she never really understood why. And now she finally knows.
Mhm. Oh, that's so scary.
Also, her name had been changed, of course.
Mhm.
Uh, mm, I think it was Melanie.
Mm.
I have it somewhere. Anyway, she's gone back to going by Melissa.
Good for her. I
She's like,
would bet there's been something in her all her life that felt like she didn't fit.
uh-huh. She said that. She said that her entire growing up, she felt like she didn't really fit in there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because she didn't.
yep,
Wow,
yep,
that's wild.
yep. Oh, wait, hold on. I missed something.
Mm.
She has not actually seen the person who raised her since 2002,
Oh,
but she asked the woman who raised her if she recognized the name Melissa Highsmith during Facebook Messenger. She said she didn't know the name, but then told her that she'd been wanting to tell her for many years that somebody sold her on the street for $500.
oh my God.
So maybe she was or wasn't.
So hard to know because that could just be,
Right, a smoke
trying to
screen.
throw the
Melanie, yeah,
attention
Melanie,
off.
that's right. Yep, her name was
Yeah.
Melanie. Interesting too that it was that close to Melissa. She went by Mel,
Mhm.
which totally could have been
A
Melissa,
nickname for either name. Wow.
Yeah. So I think there'll be more to learn on this, but anyway, wow. Yay, Melissa.
Yeah.
And her parents, that they're still alive is a miracle.
that they were able to actually see her again. I mean, it just hardly ever happens.
Mhm. Tiny update in Michael Vaughan. It isn't really an update, I don't think, but she or she, they are supposed to be doing a press conference tomorrow, updating their findings in going through the house on Red Wing Street. So
Mhm.
the Wondrous House. So I, I don't know, you guys. There was really never any indication that they found anything. Hopefully we're wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'm really worried
It's
that
I don't
Sarah
know,
Wondra is just insane and
total
has
crapshoot
caused
at this
this
point.
whole thing. Yeah. I don't know. And all of her court stuff has been put on hold until December,
Yeah,
end of
well,
December.
where she's
It's the end of
involved.
November now. I need to catch up.
It
Uh,
really is. It is actually
it's
the 30th.
the
It is
very
the
last day.
last day.
Yeah, end of December because again, she is being held right now because she was, or everything's on a stay because she was found incompetent. So I'm a little
Mhm.
surprised she'll be back in court in December, to be honest. But I guess we'll find out what they're planning on doing on behalf of her. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that press conference tomorrow. I mean, I hope that it like blows us all out of the water with some big information,
I
with some
hope so
closure for
too.
Michael Vaughn's parents. I just don't have a lot of faith that it's gonna.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just being super quiet or if it's legit they have nothing. I don't know.
There was never a time that there was a medical examiner,
Right.
a coroner,
A tent.
nothing.
Right.
However, they did haul a lot of dirt off site to examine
Mhm.
in another facility. So maybe they found something there and that's where those things were processed. But
Maybe.
typically with these things, when they finally do find someone, then there's a flurry of activity there. There's a lot of, like the coroner shows up and the medical examiner and, the people that need to be present if there's a body present. And that never happened at that house.
No.
But again, unless they really did it under wraps because they were trying really hard to keep the public away. So,
Mhm. Well, I guess we'll see tomorrow, huh?
yeah. Also, speaking of keeping the public away, holy shit. In the Jared Lasik belligerent herd circus,
Mhm.
he had court today. And they some YouTubers were live streaming the hearing, like we've done lots of times.
Mhm.
And the judge was so pissed about it that he shut the whole thing down and changed the time of the hearing and is threatening to put the whole thing under wraps because it's getting way too much public attention.
Well, Jared Lasik is a public figure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also,
Adventures with Purpose has millions of followers. This is not going to go quietly.
I think that the law needs to be re examined.
Yeah,
We as the public have the right to know.
we
That's a
do.
part of our constitutional rights. And I am really tired of judges that are bristling at that
Yeah,
and acting like we really don't.
right.
Yes, we freaking do.
We
Now, does
do.
he not want live streams to be shared? I mean, Jared is the one who insisted on doing this via Skype, you know?
Mhm.
And maybe he wanted the live streams everywhere. I don't really know.
I
But I think it's very frustrating the way this is being handled.
It is. It's gross and kind of typical for the area,
Mhm.
unfortunately. But it is
Yeah.
gross. I mean, come on. This guy is,
Mhm.
followed by millions of people. We're all very aware of the excellent work that Adventures with Purpose has done. There's a lot of buy-in to this situation because of that, you know?
Yeah.
I think we all feel like we trusted that organization and we trusted
Mhm.
him. And I mean, we can't say that he didn't do great work because he did. They found 23 missing people, the
Right.
bodies of,
Right.
and did solve a lot for people. So yeah, we all
Yeah.
do want to know.
Sure. And it is true. A lot of people have given him a lot of money. Yeah.
That's what facilitated finding all of those missing people.
Mhm. Yeah. So, I don't know where it's taking place at, actually.
I'm not 100% sure either. The
It's in Utah.
offenses happen in Utah and Nevada, I think.
It looks like San Pete County, Utah.
Okay, so it is
is
Utah.
where
Because
the
yeah,
charges were filed.
because one of the
Yeah,
offenses happened at the grandparents' house in Nevada.
in Nevada, yeah, or in Utah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so that's what's up with that. True crimers have been getting a bad beat lately. Some of
It's
them deserve
true.
it, but
Yeah, I've seen some shitty stuff out there, some people doing some really unethical bullshit.
oh, like the people that interviewed the neighbors of the Wondras.
Oh my God. Stay in your lane.
Mhm.
We stay in ours. We're very careful about it. We do not
Mhm.
ever want to affect an investigation or a
God,
prosecution.
no.
No.
No way.
We're all about reporting and understanding and giving commentary, but
Yeah, there's a limit.
there is a huge limit.
Yeah.
Can we hear federal trials too? Right, Sherry? Federal trials have nothing. They
Yeah.
still get, they still have a courtroom artist that draws it, even, which
Yeah.
is wild to me.
Federal trials need a lot more transparency, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the face biter, which I don't know if you noticed this, but when you messaged me today to say that you would cover the face biter,
I said
you said the
Facebook.
Facebook biter.
Yeah, I did. After I
Yeah.
saw it, I looked at it for a minute and went, "Oh yeah, crap." Okay, so this is the guy. We talked about him a little bit earlier in the week. His The murders that he committed actually happened in 2016.
Mhm.
Um, Now this is Austin Haroof, who has submitted an insanity plea, and the judge has accepted it.
Mhm.
And really, what's going on now is just tremendous grief on the part of the victims' families. They're just horrified that he could do something like this and not actually even have a trial. And it's it's horrifying. I mean, there's no way to say that it isn't. But was he not crazy at the time this happened? Yes, he was very. And he's
Yeah.
been evaluated several times. There were many things about the crime that were a clear indication that he was psychotic at the time. And it's really sad and horrible for the
Mhm.
victims' families, for him, for all of them. And I know the victims' families are like, you know what you did and you're faking it and all that stuff. But I got to tell you that this is rare. It's not like insanity pleas get taken all the time. They don't.
Mhm.
There's a lot of evaluation that goes into the process and multiple evaluators and, like toxicology and all that stuff that they go through to make sure that nobody wants to give an insanity plea to someone who was clearly culpable and knew what they were doing at the time of the crime. Nobody wants that. This guy, I mean, he would not stop attacking these people even when the police arrived. They had to pull him off, they had to tase him. He was out of his head. He made no attempt to run away from the police or hide his crime, which is another indication of competency. If you're totally out of your head, you're not thinking about whether you get caught or not. And there was a pretty clear history shown leading up to this point that he has bipolar disorder and that he was experiencing a psychotic episode, which there's a form of bipolar disorder that has psychotic features, in which people can have that can have a psychotic event like that. And it's horrible. The whole thing is just horrible.
Mhm.
But that's the outcome.
Yep. Okay. Well, that's sad. That's all just really
It
sad.
is. And I feel bad for the family because yeah, I mean, I get it. They have no
Sure.
closure, you know?
Yeah.
They don't.
And
They have
and
no closure.
justice, and this doesn't feel like justice. Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
But you just have a really freaking super disturbed kid on your hands.
Right. Yeah. A
Yeah.
really, really sick kid
Yeah.
who
Uh
crazy.
let's talk about Danny Masterson for a minute.
Oh, yeah, this is I don't know what to think about all this.
I know. We haven't reported on this one very much. Well, we talked that, October was sex offender palooza, because there
Right.
were so many trials going on. But
Mhm.
Danny Masterson he was in that 70s show.
Mhm.
He was on The Ranch and other things. and was charged with rape. I mean, it sounds like he was quite the sex offender back in the day, like back in like the that 70s show days,
Right.
uh, living it up in California and a lot of stuff. So he was on trial for rape, and the trial, it too has been a pretty good belligerent turd circus, to the point that the prosecution didn't even call a couple of their bigger name witnesses because the judge was so over them becoming a circus. And one of
Mhm.
those people was Lisa Marie Presley that they ended up not
Right.
calling, that was on the witness list. Um, a lot of the trial ended up kind of putting the Church of Scientology on trial.
Mhm.
He was born into Scientology. He's still a Scientologist. There's a ton of Scientologists in his family and his inner circle. And the girls that had accused him of rape, the women, also were Scientologists at the time. And, there's a lot of talk about the Church of Scientology being very secretive and keeping a lot of protecting each other, keeping a lot of things under wraps,
Right.
and that there, potentially are a lot of crimes that perhaps have occurred within the church that have been covered up. I mean, sounds like, well, about every other church I know.
I mean, color me not surprised.
So the jury was out before Thanksgiving for deliberation, and they could not come to a conclusion. And the judge was like, well, too damn bad. Come back
Mhm.
here on the 28th and figure this out.
Mhm.
So they did. But before then, on the 27th, the court was alerted that two members of the jury had COVID. So they had to pull them and assign two alternative jurors. Well, they deliberated all day Monday, most of the day Tuesday, finally came back to the judge and they're like, look, we got nothing. We are hopelessly deadlocked. So it has been declared a mistrial, which is nuts. And now they have to go back to court and do this again in March.
Mm.
I would hope that the prosecutor changes their focus a little bit and doesn't go so hardcore at the Church of Scientology, but more at the actions of Danny Masterson. That's where I think
Mhm.
they got askew and astray in this deal, but that's my opinion.
Sure.
So we'll see.
We'll see, because I'm real excited for that '90s show.
Me
And
too.
so that's what I've been sort of
He's
interested
not
in
on
what's
it
going.
though.
No, he's not. But I've been sort of interested to see what's going on with him because I hadn't really given him much thought until I've been getting excited for that '90s show.
Yeah. I'm mostly excited for Red and Kitty. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's gonna be great.
It's going to be awesome. Yes. Yeah. So that's what's up with that. Talk to us about Moscow.
You guys, I don't know if they just need someone else to talk or if they just need everyone to shut the hell up because we're now hearing from Latah County prosecuting attorney Bill Thompson.
Hmm.
And he's kind of trying to soften and smooth out some of the, shall we call the missteps or possible misdirections or at least bad info coming out
Hmm.
of the Moscow police. So this is the murder of the four University of Idaho students that happened a couple of weeks ago. There
Hmm.
was a big vigil for them tonight. It was actually an hour and a half ago, and there
Hmm.
one arm of it was actually here in my city. There were college towns all over Idaho having a vigil for the four
Yeah.
victims this evening.
Hmm.
Now, we've all heard the word targeted a lot in this
Yeah.
case, in which it was initially stated that there was no need for any other students in this little town to be worried about their own safety because this crime was a targeted crime.
Hmm.
Well, nobody knows what the hell that means because they're not telling us what that means. And
Yeah.
some people are kind of implying what it might mean, and other people are implying something else that it might mean. And well, the prosecutor said that targeted, using the word targeted, may have been a bit off base. Why do you think so, sir? I mean,
What do you think targeted means
yeah,
exactly?
yeah. He said it seems like the word targeted has had different understandings for different people who were listening and perhaps isn't the best word to use. Yeah. The bottom line is that whoever,
What?
yeah, yeah. But the bottom line is that whoever is responsible for this is still at large. That
Yeah.
can't be, then he says, that can't be changed. Well, I sure hope it can be, sir. I hope it can. Um,
Yeah,
my
they
under,
need to stop. They need to
they
stop
they need
talking
to just shut up.
immediately. Yeah.
My understanding is that investigators believe that whoever is responsible was specifically looking at this particular residence, but that's all they can offer at this point.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of trying to smooth things over here. I really think they need to like get someone from the FBI to be their point of contact, and everyone else just shut up because we've had
Mhm.
the chief of police, the sheriff, we've had the dean of the school, we've had the mayor, we've had the coroner, like,
Mhm.
and and now the prosecuting attorney. That is 6 people talking about this investigation. I got to
Mhm.
tell you, you don't see that in other places. Like
No.
I know we live here, we know how backwards it can be, but for hell's sakes, you guys, pick a person, any, just one of you, and
Mhm.
everyone else stop giving interviews because no matter
Mhm.
what they do, it just continues to come out as being misleading.
Yep. Yep.
And so we really have no other information other than,
No.
you know, they genuinely cannot say for sure if there are other students at risk in that
Right.
college town. And they just went back after Thanksgiving break for those who did go back.
Mhm.
Many did not and are finishing up this semester online. Some are not even coming back to this university after
At all.
August.
Yeah. They've had it.
Yeah, because all of this feels very much like, are they
Mhm.
really protecting the students in the school?
Mhm.
I'm not sure.
There was a really interesting article in the Idaho Tribune about 2 other stabbings that have happened
Yes.
in Washington and Oregon.
Hmm.
One in 2020 and the other, I don't know, a year or 2 before that, I think.
The one in
That
2021.
Oh, that's right, 2021, and the one in Oregon was a little ways before that. That,
Hmm.
there's not a lot to tie them together, but it is interesting that they are also, uh, very random stabbings where people's homes were broken into and they were stabbed to death in their beds. In the one case, the husband, fought the attacker off enough that, the wife was able to get away and survived, and the husband did
Right.
die. The one in 2021 was a single lady who was stabbed to death in her bed, and again, no idea who.
Right.
Interestingly, they all happened on the 13th of their respective months.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I didn't do a whole story on it because that's pretty flimsy, but it is
Hmm.
interesting.
It is, and they did say in their last press conference that they had been receiving information from, particularly Washington State,
Yeah.
but other localities around
Mhm.
with anything similar. Because at
Yeah.
this point, I mean, they
Well,
don't
and
have
I mean,
any
Moscow is just a
evidence.
hop, skip, and a jump out of Washington.
Right? Yeah,
You
it's
know,
very close to
it's
the
almost on the
line.
state line. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Was
and
there a reason this house was targeted? Well, yes and no and maybe and probably. And
right.
targeted doesn't mean what you think targeted means.
Right. There is there are they are looking into the possibility that one of the girls who was murdered had been being stalked and that she had reported to people that there was someone who had been
Mhm.
following her and they had potentially seen someone,
Yeah.
maybe in a face mask, maybe not in a face mask, standing outside their house a few weeks
Mhm.
ago.
Yeah.
So there's that, but it's all very flimsy. They don't have
Yeah.
any idea, really.
No.
That's the
Colleen,
scary
yeah.
thing.
Colleen said, "Can you imagine if they told people they could let their guard down and someone else was murdered? So irresponsible it is. From the
Yeah,
day this happened, the
yeah,
day this happened, and they said that they did not believe there was any threat to the community, with
yeah,
absolutely no grounds to say it. Also said
yeah,
it was a crime of passion with no grounds to say that at all.
yeah.
Yeah, this has been flubbed up from the very start.
It has, it really has, and, and I try not to fault them too hard because they've never done anything like this before. This is like our local police when the Daybell,
Yeah.
case first broke. Like, this is a first for these guys.
Mhm.
And so, but, they gotta wise up. They need
Yeah.
people to shut up. One
Yeah.
person should be representing this case in the media, and everyone else should say nothing.
Yeah.
So that's where I think that's where it feels so
Mhm.
misinformation-y, is because it's coming through different people's
Mhm.
perception.
Well, and because I'm assuming there's lots of things they have been told not to discuss, but they just can't help discussing them.
Right.
Yeah.
And then catch themselves and only say part of it. So then that doesn't make it, there's just a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
But
How
how
can
can
they?
they say? So the mayor said that immediately. He said that in an interview that it was a crime of passion.
Yeah.
And then reporters kept pressing him to as to why he said that. Now, remember that when it first happened, we did not know what the mode of murder was for a while.
Right.
So we didn't know they were all stabbed to death. That's why he said that, because he had it in his head that the way they were all stabbed so violently that surely that was a crime of passion. I'm guessing that was said by some Leo, that
Problem.
but there was no other reason to say that. He just said it.
Right.
And so, yeah,
And
it's
he should not have said it. And they've come out and said
no,
now that we definitely know it is not that. We know it wasn't a murder
right.
suicide. And like that, that was a mistake.
Yep. Yep.
But why was the mayor giving an interview
Yeah.
on the day this happened? Should not
Right.
have been. That was just
No.
dumb.
That was I don't know if you guys remember really early in Daybell Vallow when the week the kids' bodies were found. Our mayor
Oh,
said
yeah.
some things to the press
I
that
forgot about that.
had not been made public and weren't supposed to be made public. Listen, the mayor of Rexburg is a really nice guy and just a big damn idiot, and pretty much immediately had to be like, "Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm really sorry. Oh God," or
Well,
no,
this
I'm
is the
sorry.
same mayor that
Oh goodness,
stood next to a sign with COVID numbers when things were really bad, absolutely begging people to wear a mask and
Mhm.
stay home
He would do it
every
every
day.
day. Every day, and it's a sign on Main Street, so it's not like he was even at home. He'd be outside, snow, wind, cold, whatever, with all of our numbers because, of course, in this county, we refuse to take any kind of city ordinance or anything about masks or stay home or whatever. Yes,
Mhm.
every day he would do a little tiny live stream, like 5 minutes long, in front of the sign. Yes, literally, nearly throwing himself to the ground, begging people to stop getting COVID because we were like one of the worst counties per capita in the country for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
But yeah, super, super sweet guy, but
Poor guy.
should never talk to the press ever. But yeah, he disclosed some
No.
stuff about that the kid. Well, what he disclosed was that it was the kids.
Yeah,
That hadn't even been disclosed yet.
yeah.
They were still supposed to be, trying to do
Determining who.
autopsies and determine that it was the kids, and he told the press it was. Yeah.
This is why. One person. It's supposed to be one person. There should be a
Needs to
media
be.
contact within your police
Yeah.
department, and everyone else should shut the hell up.
Mhm.
Oh
Yep.
boy.
Yep, indeed. So that's what we do know, not much. Yep.
Mm,
Uh, Quinton Simon.
yeah.
His remains have been positively identified. So we now know for certain. They were 90% sure, but of course, had to go through the identification process. We do know that Quinton Simon is that those were his remains in the landfill.
Yes.
So of course, Leilani remains in jail, coming up on murder charges. So I have yet to see any paperwork on that, though. I really wanted to see the probable cause. I don't think we've seen it.
I think it's sealed.
It might be sealed. Yeah, I just realized I was watching for that and haven't seen it yet. But speaking of probable cause,
Mhm.
in Delphi, in
Right?
Richard Allen, they finally released a shortened, redacted version of the probable cause affidavit. It was the defense that was pushing so hard to have it released, as well as others. Uh,
Mhm.
it was interesting.
Yeah. Didn't tell us
I thought it
very
was
much.
flimsy. I thought it was very flimsy. I hope they have more than that on
Yeah.
Mr. Allen, or what's going on here? His attorneys are saying this is flimsy as hell. They're not wrong. It is, unless
They're
they have a
not, but
lot more than what's in there.
all they had to do was have enough to get the warrant. I mean, they're
Yeah,
gonna hold back as much as possible.
yeah,
If they got the warrant on that much, and
mhm,
if the judge had said no, they probably would have had to give a little more,
yeah, It's
But
true.
the judge
What they're not
authorized the
saying
warrant
is
on that.
any DNA, any DNA.
Mm,
That
so
what they do know is that he was in the area that day. What they do know is that his vehicle, maybe a witness
mhm,
maybe saw his vehicle parked by an old CPS building, which is something he told the police in 2017 and again this year that, yeah, he was parked there, that he did hike up on top of the bridge. He said he hiked up to the top bridge to watch the fish for a little while and then sat on the bench for a bit and left. Well, that's what the witnesses are saying too, is that they saw his car there. The thing that they have, he did say that he had on, yeah, the same clothes, that he had on, probably like a blue hoodie or a blue zip up and
mhm,
blue jeans, which is, what the pictures that we have of who they think the killer is, yeah, did wear
yep,
that. It's the it's the gun.
yep,
It's the gun. So they are saying that there was an unspent bullet between the two girls that matches the the firing pattern
yeah,
of his gun. He has a gun, I think it's a Sig Sauer, it's a handgun, and that he's had since 2001, and that there was an unspent bullet that matches the same firing pattern as his gun. The
yeah,
problem with that is that that is really, really iffy technology,
mhm.
and that's been found to be inadmissible in court lots and lots of times. I just don't know. I'm not saying he didn't do it at all. I'm just saying I hope they have a lot more than, a lot more, because I don't know how you would convict anybody on what they had.
No, not at all, but, I mean, they've got more. I don't
They
have any they've
must.
been so careful and methodical with this whole case
Yeah,
and have taken way a lot of time
yeah,
before make going public with what they believe happened
yeah,
and who they believe did it,
yeah.
that, I I
What I'm
absolutely
hoping
believe
is
they
that
have more.
they have DNA that we just don't know about yet.
I'm sure they
Because if this is it, this couldn't be it. But if this was it, ugh.
do.
It
Yeah.
does match, but unfortunately, and he said that he never let anyone else use it. Yes. The problem with it is those firing pattern tests are just are known to be faulty and could
Well, and
be
it's the
completely
marks, like
erroneous.
yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's possible more than one gun could make the same pattern. That's basically the science is we think
Yeah.
so, but that by itself is not enough generally for a
No, definitely
conviction.
no. Right.
But I'll bet they were so careful about what they decided to reveal
Mhm.
in that warrant application. Don't you think that
Yeah.
like they were very careful about not giving too much away?
You would sure think so. Yeah. You would hope so. So, we'll see. So, oh, we also did see the counts. So, the counts are murder, let's see. Oh gosh, I have them in front of me. One sec. Okay, so count 1 of murder, that Alan did kill another human being, to wit, victim 1 while attempting to kidnap her. Count 2, Alan did kill another human being, to wit, victim 2 while attempting to kidnap her. So those are the
Mhm,
official charges at this point.
yeah.
So, yeah, I just have a feeling this case is going to cause us some heartburn and panic, but
Mhm.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope
Yeah,
I'm
and
wrong.
right, felony murder, Colleen, and
Right, with
that
it being so flimsy, why was it sealed? How
yeah.
why in the hell was that not information that couldn't
Well,
be public?
that judge got really freaked out and then accused
Right, and
himself
then
and, like,
quit.
got yeah.
Yeah,
So, I
yeah,
think that had
yeah.
probably more to do with it than anything is that they were not
Mhm,
prepared for a case with
mhm.
this kind of international following.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One other thing they did have, though, in the affidavit was a witness who said they saw a man walking down the road that was covered in mud and blood,
Mhm.
in that area. So there is that too. I don't know, you guys. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm just the wrongest of wrong here. I think this is yeah, I think it's nerve-wracking. I just
Mhm.
want to see justice in this case. I want to see their families get justice, and
I
I
just
don't
really
know.
think as methodical as they have been, I just
Mhm.
can't imagine that they don't have an absolute ton
Pile.
of
Mhm.
evidence against this guy before they ever even went for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the Club Q shooter.
Well, let's do. Okay, so you know that we have not said this terrorist name, and we're still not going to.
Mhm.
However, we are going to show you a picture of
Yeah.
this fool because there were some questions about, okay, why did he go to the hospital after he was arrested? And then
Mhm.
the story came out about the military vet who took him down, and then other people that helped him, and the trans woman who stomped on him, and all that stuff. Well, I think we have a pretty good picture of why he had to
Mhm.
go to the hospital. It's this right here. I mean, never could a terrorist have received a better beating than that one.
No,
He
that was
got
pretty
the
dang good.
living shit kicked out of him.
Mhm.
And, I, I'm not a bloodthirsty person, but I'm here
Mhm.
for it. You go in a place and start shooting it up, and people beat the living crap out of you like that, and you get to live
Yep.
when his victims didn't.
Mhm.
No, you deserve whatever you get, buddy. So
Mhm.
I was kind of that bruising on his face. Holy,
Mhm.
some of that's from stilettos, and I'm really happy about that.
Yep.
So anyway, that's the only other thing we know. This family, okay.
Oh, good lord.
We talked about dad last week. We
Mhm.
showed a little video of dad. Holy crap. So it turns out that on the same very early morning hour that this terrorist committed this shooting at Club Q, just a few hours later, their mother, Laura Vopel, was arrested for like disturbing the peace and disorderly conduct. Apparently, she was standing outside in like an apartment complex and like screaming and yelling and causing problems. And when they tried to arrest her, she got combative with the police and resisted arrest. So she is
Mhm.
out now and awaiting court hearings. She's got a hearing coming in January, but maybe we're seeing a little bit of a picture of where this individual came from. I mean, we saw dad
Mhm.
totally incoherent. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And now mom getting arrested for disturbing the peace just a few hours after
Yeah.
the
His deal?
shooting.
Yeah.
Crazy.
These people are nuts. Yep.
Yeah. Holy crap. But I will never get over the picture of those bruises. Right? Amy said, "Good job, heroes." Yeah.
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 Well, I mean, the guy that, took him down said that he wasn't sure he was alive.
Yeah. He wasn't sure that he hadn't killed him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, saved the lives of everybody else in that club.
Absolutely. Absolute hero.
And this
Yep.
moron lives to go to trial.
Yes. Even better. Yep. Okay, let's see. Just double checking. I think we've gotten to everything except for Daybell Vallow. Am I right?
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Okay. Well, let's talk about Daybell Vallow. It's
Well,
actually just Vallow.
mhm.
Nothing in Daybell right now that I could find. So, Lori Vallow's attorneys, we knew this last week, but we hadn't seen the actual briefs. But
Yeah.
they had filed a motion to compel, and they had filed, this really is interesting, a motion to declare the death penalty unconstitutional. So we hadn't seen, what their basis was, but now we have. So
Mhm.
in the motion to compel, we'll talk about that first because it's quick and less interesting. But basically, they're saying that they still don't believe they have received the actual interviews that the prosecution and the FBI have done with various witnesses.
Hmm.
Now, again, the prosecution's like, we gave you all of those terabytes of shit, figure it out. And they're like,
Mhm.
no, there are specific interviews here that we're not seeing. We want names, dates, times, places, exactly what was discussed, any video or, audio footage. We want those specific things. And as you know, Pryor's been asking for these things for 2 years as
Yeah,
well.
he has.
And the prosecution's like, we've already given it all to you. And they keep
Hmm.
coming back saying, you really haven't. So, yet again, we're going down that road.
I'll be curious to see because, honestly, with Pryor and Means, when they said stuff like that, I was like, big babies.
Hmm.
But Lori's current attorneys are
I
actual
know.
real, criminal defense attorneys.
Real attorneys.
Yeah, real attorneys, also real criminal defense attorneys.
Yeah.
And so it holds a little more weight for me now that
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, is it have they in fact been withholding something?
Yeah.
I don't know because it could just still
Or
be
is it
more
just there buried
substantive.
in files that are not clearly marked? And honestly, why is the prosecution doing that?
Right.
Like, why are they being acting like this? Why aren't they just going, okay, here are the very specific files where those things you're asking for are in. Well, we're going to, tell you exactly where they are or resend them to you in some way so that you absolutely definitely have them. Why?
Right.
Why? Why are we messing around?
And still messing around with this.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm bothered. I'm bothered by that. But let's talk about the really interesting thing. Motion to declare the death penalty unconstitutional and to preclude its application in this case because empirical research has established that the modern death penalty is as unguided, arbitrary, and capricious as the system of capital punishment struck down by Furman v. Georgia.
Mm,
It is a 60-page brief,
wow.
62-page brief arguing against the death penalty. I think it's really fascinating that they're doing that.
Well, there's
Uh,
some pretty tremendous evidence to stand behind that.
There is.
Especially
And
just go look at Oklahoma for a minute. I mean,
right, like I really did not expect this coming out of Idaho, and especially coming out of this case, but they are literally arguing the whole death penalty, you guys, not arguing, hey, it's really not called for in this case because Lori is, because of her mental challenges, or like that's what I thought, that we'd be seeing an argument against it because of her mental illness, which I don't know if I would have agreed or not, but I would have understood that.
right.
Oh no, this is the whole kit and caboodle. It's unconstitutional. It is fascinating. There's no way we can go through the whole thing here because, my God. However, I'm going
Mhm.
to share a link in the chat room for you guys. Yeah, so that you can go and read through it if you would like to. I'm just going to share a couple of key points that I thought were interesting. The conclusion. This court is bound to review and receive the evidence and rule accordingly. In doing so, this court is not bound by precedent based on these untrue assumptions, but should instead apply the undisputed facts to the constitutional principles upon which death penalty jurisprudence has been based. This court should acknowledge what is now a sobering but undeniable reality. In the real world of capital trials, real capital jurors are not making sentencing decisions consistent with state and federal constitutional mandates. Both the United States Supreme Court and the Idaho Supreme Court have rested the constitutionality of the death penalty upon certain assumptions about actual juror understanding and behavior. A lot of their argument was about the fact that jurors don't understand the death penalty, that it's not being explained to them correctly. And if you
Mhm.
might remember, they had already filed a brief asking the jurors to not be death penalty certified.
Right.
For decades, assumptions have been piled upon assumptions to the point that the entire system depends upon their truth. Now incontrovertible, hard science evidence reveals those assumptions to be nothing more than false hopes. There can no longer be any doubt that across all variables, the death penalty sentencing system in this country is not being applied in compliance with constitutional mandates of the lines of cases identified herein as Furman, Gregg, Woodson Lockett, and Morgan, and indeed is incapable of being applied in a manner that complies with those lofty constitutional mandates. The application of the death penalty in the United States is presently just as arbitrary and capricious as it was when the United States Supreme Court declared it unconstitutional in Furman versus Georgia, 1972, and violates the 8th and 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution, as well as the corresponding provisions under the Idaho State Constitution. Interesting.
I mean, they're not wrong.
Right.
They're not wrong. I just think they're pretty ballsy to try this first in Idaho, the
Yes.
bloodthirsty state, and
Yeah.
to try this with Lori Vallow, who is one of the most hated women in this country, thanks to this case.
Yeah.
But if the death penalty is unconstitutional for her, then it's unconstitutional for anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's pretty interesting.
If you really want an interesting read and you have a little while, read through it. It's very their points are really interesting. It's very thought provoking to me. Because I think a lot of us have been pretty I know some of you guys stand very strongly against the death penalty. And I think I do too in most cases, but I don't know if I do in all. However, it seems like every time someone comes up for clemency, I find myself going, they should be granted clemency, So I don't know. Read through it. Read through it if you have a little extra time. See what you think.
Well, and I think that that's really interesting, the stuff about the jury.
Mhm.
And I've heard other defense attorneys talk about that when someone is charged with a death penalty offense,
Mhm.
you're sending a message to the jury,
Mhm.
whether it's intentional or not, or whether it's overt or it's subtle,
Mhm.
that this person deserves it and has done something really horrible. I
Mhm.
think that it can really mess with that innocent until proven guilty on the part
Yeah.
of the jury.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Interesting point. Paula said if they take away the death penalty option, Pryor loses one of his arguments for severance. True.
Right.
Oh, excuse me.
Well, there's more than one way to get the death penalty off the table in this case.
Yeah.
We all know it. I mean, one or the other can flip,
For sure.
and take the death penalty off the table.
Yeah.
But I find this interesting that these two attorneys, I mean, have they been waiting for a case like this to challenge the
Right.
death penalty?
Why now?
Really
Why
seems
here? Why
like, yeah.
now?
Why now? Why this
Mhm.
case? I don't know. I find it interesting.
Yeah. Very interesting. So, Colleen said, I do too, but not in this case. I hear you. I hear you.
It is hard, but I
Yeah.
also feel like, can we really say it's okay in some cases and not in others? That feels weird to me too. The fear that we would ever, and I'm sure I know we already have executed an innocent person, for that to have happened one time
Mhm.
is one time too many. In my
Right.
mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Amy said there's so many wrongful convictions because the jury also doesn't understand reasonable doubt. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And Cranky said maybe they're trying to make themselves look good. Yeah. I mean, are they trying to hang something on their hats on this case?
I wonder.
Have
I
they
mean,
been waiting for something to come along? I mean,
it's a
why
pretty
now?
international case. I mean, if you're going to be a defense attorney and make your name in something, it's this case, unless you're John Pryor or Mark Means, and then you will make your name in a whole different way that will be covered in mud.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Though I will say this last year, John has looked a little better.
He's
For the
straightened
most
up
part.
a bit. Well, not having Means around to egg him on, and actually being held accountable by real criminal defense attorneys has probably changed things quite a bit.
I think that's true. Yeah. Yeah. Look at the lawyer who defended Casey Anthony. Oh, well, for hell's sake, look at the Kardashians. Those girls wouldn't be famous at all had their dad not been involved with the O.J. Simpson case.
Right.
Interesting stuff. So there you have it. Well, we'll be back tomorrow night for the Psychic Hour if you subscribe. Otherwise, we'll be back next week, Monday, with a brand new episode. Seeing some really interesting stuff coming up right now. So I can't wait to dive in. Yep. All right, guys. Thanks so much for being here. And as always, thank you for all of your support. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.